So today I'm going to try to finish putting the mast back together again. Got lots of pieces here. Well, this is the roller furler for the jib. This is the new jib halyard. And this is the topping lift. And this is the spinnaker halyard. So let's go get them out on the boat and see. I'll have to make a couple of trips. I already ran the main halyard. Huh. All right, now I'm confused. This is the topping lift. Ah, I don't think so. This is the spinnaker, was the old spinnaker halyard because it was badly worn. This is the topping lift. A little bit smaller diameter than the main halyard. And it goes somewhere onto the front of the mast. We'll have to figure that one out in a moment. And then this is the new jib halyard. And I know that the jib halyard was the rope to wire. Looking at the boat, the mast steps way back here. The jib is farther out. That triangle is a little bit longer, but 15 feet, boy, that seems really pretty long. Well, can't do much about it now. And that's the one that the previous owner had manufactured. All right, well, I have all the baggy labeled masthead sheaths. This is going to be fun, trying to get these back in. Probably try the ones at the top first. I think I'll have to get a long screwdriver to push up and hold it in place while I get the pin through. And I think I'm going to do the bottom one first, because it will be easier to see. That was fairly easy. Now I've got to get the cotter pin so that I can put that in properly. Every time I run an errand, I move the camera because I know it's not going to like being out here in the hot, hot sun. No, that one's too big. Wow, that really doesn't want to go through there. But it will go through there. Interesting. Wow, one of these is definitely a lot longer than the other. Because it's no problem putting this cotter through there. All right, that's through. And that one fits with no problem. Interesting. Okay, there we go. That one's through. Good. Cotter pins are all bent over and in place. Okay, so that feels great right up until the point where it starts to transition from the rope to the wire. And then it starts to bind up just a little bit, and then it's fine once the wire starts running. So it is what it is. This is the backstay. I know the backstay goes on the backside of the mast where the main track is. Oh, crap. Didn't even know that I knocked you over. All right, let me go get the pieces for the backstay and the headstay. Well, you're gonna have to have a long distance view. I'm trying to keep the camera in the shade so it doesn't overheat, as it keeps having a tendency to do. Now, the old spinnaker halyard had this fitting spliced onto it, which I'm not going to do right now, probably because this line is a little bit longer and won't fit through that. And while it's convenient to have that on the spinnaker halyard to make it quicker to attach the spinnaker or the reacher drifter, it's not critical. And once the boat's rigged and I really decide what I want at the top of the mast, or I mean on this halyard, then we can make that determination. All right, that halyard is there. Those halyards are now run. Let's get the backstay. All right, so that is the diameter and the size that I want. Looks like that one's a little bit too big. That's the right size. And I'm going to rig this so that all of the cotter pins are on the same side of the mast. Probably not critical, but seems to be a good way to go. All righty. So backstay is in, and there's another set of holes back here, which I am assuming, and I hate to assume, must be for the topping lift, since the topping lift would go off the backside of the mast. All right, let's get the headstay on. Now, before we put the headstay on, we've got to get the roller furler back together. And this is the track. So this will spin around as the jib is unfurling. However, we need to make sure that this is on the front, actually aft side of the track, so that the jib is going to attach to this and it'll pull the jib up. And then the jib halyard will attach to this to pull the jib up. So this is the aft side, and if the mast is facing this way, this is the aft side of the mast because it comes down and the jib's going up in the middle. So this is going to attach thusly. Now this is the headstay pin. Where does this go? I know it goes on to this, and it must go on first. Then there's a couple of screws that hold it in place. I hope it doesn't go on from the bottom. Well, let's go down and check. So I wrapped this fitting at the bottom of the mast, which is what the roller furler attaches to. All right, so looking at this little black piece that goes on somewhere, Looking at the track, I know that it has a couple of holes in it so that it screws into the track somewhere, and I don't see... Ah, okay, there they are. It goes on this way, there, and then those screws go in there, so that goes that way. Ah, good, all right. A couple of things. Let's get down to the shop. So this fitting goes at the top of the mast and holds, the pin goes through this way in the mast, and another pin goes through that way to hold the head stay. But you can see that it got bent. One side got bent. So I'm going to see what I can do to try to straighten that out. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do to straighten it out. Well, not absolutely... Didn't even know you weren't looking. Not absolutely perfect, but pretty close. I was able to drive a big chisel in and got most of the problems out of it. Wow, okay, that looks pretty darn good. Now let's go back out and see what we can do. Okay, so this is going to go through like that, and the pin goes through. But if I'm going to keep all my cotter pins on the same side, I need to go through from here. All right, that is in place. That head stay is in. Now, let's reconfirm that I'm doing this correctly. This goes aft, and I think I want to have the cotter pin facing out because I've got halyards running back and forth past this. I don't want the risk of a cotter pin catching and doing anything untoward. And there we go. Now let me make sure I can get these two little screws in. That's a star bit. I'd hate to get this all assembled and then discover, oh, I can't quite reach that because the head stay is on. I needed to put these on before I did the head stay. All right, that worked. Okay, so the top of the mast is mostly done. One more piece that I need, and this is the bracket for the VHF radio antenna, and that went right here. The antenna should be delivered today. All right, well that's interesting. The bracket doesn't fit past, and this is where the bracket was. The markings on the mast show that the bracket was a little bit farther over. And I'm not quite sure how that was possible. Is that this pin, the head is a slightly smaller diameter than that one, which means this one should have gone there and that one would go here, and then this bracket would fit. Wouldn't you just know it? And that is the head stays and back stay. And if I go through all of this effort and it doesn't solve the problem, boy, am I going to be mad. Oh, you know what? The heads are the exact same size. However, instead of butting up against the head, if I reverse it, okay, I'm putting this one back in, and the cotter pins are on the same side that they were before. So this one is just being reinstalled exactly the way it was. 41% battery. Looks like I've got plenty of room on the memory card. Oh well. So now by reversing that pin, the head of the pin is gone, and now this VHF bracket fits on, well, will fit on perfectly. There we go. Now I'm not sure that I really like this bottom screw. It extends through a lot more than I want it to, and actually looks like it's going to be hitting and rubbing up against the halyard. So I'm going to cut the screw off, smooth over the head, and then it will be a lot shorter and it won't impact the halyard. So it really only just needs to go straight into the metal. Okay, cut that screw down, filed off the ends of it, and now it is awesome. Runs through, no problems at all. Jib halyard runs through beautifully. The spin halyard. This is, so there are two holes back here. It is not a fitting that goes all the way through the entire mast. It goes through this plate and this plate, but not that one. So it just connects on to there, which this is the main halyard. And this is the backstay. So I would assume something hooks on there, and that's what the topping lift is attached to. So I would guess that it is another block that the topping lift runs through. So now I have to go find that. So, wrap up today. Busy afternoon. Chuck came by and helped me get a lot done with very little filming, because we were working hard and fast and weren't getting much camera time in. So the mast is almost done. The UHF antenna is mounted. I do have to put the plug on the bottom so that we can put the plug in there. The anemometer is set. The mast headlight is set. It's not tightened down yet. Everything else is done. The spinnaker halyard, brand new spinnaker halyard, is run. Jib is attached. Fair lead is back on for the jib halyard. Jib halyard is attached. Head stay is attached. Back stay is attached. The topping lift is attached. Flag halyard is attached. All the cotter pins are back in for the mast sheaves and the head stay and the back stay. All the halyards are run. Mast boots, the spreader boots are back on. New light is attached. I still have to do some wiring for that, for the light. And then the last piece that I have to do is reassemble the roller furler base and reconnect the wiring, cut these two off, and get ready to splice them in at the mast step. But before I do anything, I want to obviously connect up these wires to power and test all the lights up in the mast to make sure everything's working properly. And then that basically is everything for the mast. We are done with, once I get these last few items buttoned up, the mast is completely reassembled and done. Chuck came by and helped me get the port tow rail on. So port tow rail is all back on the boat, bedded, screwed, fastened in, and I've even bunged all the fastenings. So here's the port tow rail. The areas where there's no finish are where it fell off the boat and broke again and had to be assembled. I'm now, when the bungs are in, I can start putting finish on the port side like I've done on the starboard side. Starboard side's got about 5 coats of finish on all the bungs. So we'll have to do that and then reinstall the bow lights. And then I need to put one final coat of paint in the cockpit and on the pedestal. And then I can reinstall the cockpit coamings. And then I have the 3 winches to rebuild. So, making progress. We better make progress because I have scheduled the launching. The delivery company is going to come in 9 days to pick up the boat and launch it. So I better make sure that I get this garboard plug installed so the boat doesn't fill with water and sink. Oh, getting closer and closer. It's very exciting. It's actually looking like a sailboat again, or like a boat that might actually see water. So, thank you for watching and following SV Slow Air. Please hit the like button if you've enjoyed the content that I'm providing. It doesn't really cost you anything and helps the channel out a little bit. Don't forget to subscribe so that you can get updates when new videos come out. I've got a lot of videos that hopefully you'll be seeing shortly. By the time you see this one, they'll all have been done. Anyway, thanks again for following SV Slow Air, and we'll, at this point, see you, well, won't see you on the water. Probably another day of filming before we hit the water, but we'll definitely see the launching in the next couple of videos. Have a good one.